Welcome to the second season of the Deployment Dojo. This is episode 6 of our live show where we introduce and discuss software installation topics to make you a better setup ninja. I'm your host, Rob Menching, and joining me once again is my very good friend and still the first student of the dojo, David Edson. David, how you doing, my man?
Pretty good, thanks.
All right. So we're back. We've got another episode after everything getting sorted out. We're all good. We're going to do a little bit of review because it turns out I was kind of sneaking in little bits and pieces of this episode in the last episode. And I had to kind of show all of the bits and pieces of, if you remember, items and item metadata. Remember all that conversation we had going back and forth?
Right.
Yep. All right. So today we're talking about batching. And this is the first topic, I think, where we actually turn into using MSBuild in a more intermediate way. Now, I'm not going to say advanced by any means, but more intermediate way where you're going to start seeing, this is actually a build engine. This is what it was. I can actually do something with, as opposed to yet another mechanism that I can print hello world, which is what we've done so far, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, we're going to do batching. And I'm not going to try to explain it without the code, so let's just go jump in the code. Ready?
All right, ready.
I push this button. All right, here we are. The code. I started with an empty project, dojo.proj. This is episode 6, and we're going to do some work. Now, a lot of time we do a bunch of stuff with properties because they're very simple variables to get started. But today, we're going to be doing a lot more with item groups because batching is all about items. And this is where we're going to see... let me type this real quick like I have several times. This file does not exist. This is where we're going to do batching because as we're going to find, properties are useful. They're variables, but really what you're operating on when you're doing work inside MSBuild is generally on items. Although if you've worked with MSBuild, you've probably dealt with properties more because they're kind of the ways to tweak things inside pre-built build systems. Items, when you're building a system, are what you're going to do a lot more with. All right, so let's go ahead and get ourselves set up here with a target. Make sure that we can see it. We will do message importance, right? Importance equals high, just so it shows up nice and clear on the screen. Text equals, we'll say item X equals not percent, ampersand, item X. All right, pretty much the basic as we can get. We have a target that has item X in it, and we have a message that we're going to print out.
Right.
Okay. All right, just so everybody's on the same page and we haven't forgotten everything. We run this, it runs the first target in our project, and we show that, hey, item exists, shows us our list of items. And we can create a second item, call this a.text, add a second item, because remember, items are both objects. They have metadata, many pieces on them, and they are collections, which means they group everything together. And when we print them out just as an @ sign, we get them in a semicolon delimited list. Right?
Yep.
All right, cool. And if we remember, we have metadata on these guys. And so we can, if we want to reference the metadata on them, we can say like identity, which is our way of saying, hey, for this item, give me the identity, right?
Right.
And when we do that, it breaks it out into separate calls for all of the unique identities that it finds across the items, the unique metadata, right? So if we pick the same metadata, they'd all get grouped together again. When they have unique metadata, they get split across. And that was our whole last episode.
Right.
Yep. Okay. I have to come clean a little bit. I said that we had properties, items, and targets as our primitives inside the build system of MSBuild. And I have gone 6 episodes and neglected to name what this thing is right here. This message is a message, obviously, but it has a name in MSBuild and it's called a task. And I kind of skipped over all that because we're going to go into a deep dive on tasks in the future, because it turns out you can make your own tasks, which is very useful, very cool, and a whole lot of things to talk about in that. But just so you know, these pieces inside a target, these are tasks. They are the things that do stuff. All right. I bring that up because we're now going to talk about batching on tasks. Okay.
Okay.
And we've done it. We have done batching on tasks. All right. All right. I'm being flippant a little bit. All right. What are we doing? This, when we say this percent here, that says, hey, go give me the metadata on this item. And then we notice that, oh, when I said, give me a unique metadata across these items, it printed them out separately. That separation across metadata on items is batching. So that whole work that we did where we were slicing and dicing the cross product of the metadata in the whole last episode, it was all because we could do task-based batching. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm naming it now. This is, when you use this percent, that's how you access the metadata, but it's also then going to cause batching to happen on your item. So let's pick another metadata here. And is it extension? I think, right? Because remember, all of these give us like file name and extension and items like that. So we run this again, right? There's extension .txt. And we have one again, right? Because I have the same extension on all of these items in here.
Okay.
Remember? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so this is batching. When you pick something, when you slice, you will then get batching across all of the unique values across that metadata in that item. All right. So when I go back to this percent sign, we can't have this dot anymore. Actually, what does it do? I think it's going to do nothing. Yeah, it just prints it as a string because it's not correct. When we go back to that, this is not batching. This just takes the item and semicolon eliminates all of the identities in it and prints it. Okay, just one message, no batching done at all. All right. When I change to the percent sign and I want to reference some piece of metadata in it, like let's do file name, I think is one of them. I should go have this open. Another piece of metadata on all items, file name. There, we get the file name for each unique file name. We'll do a.foo. Okay? So now we're going to do batching across 3 items. They're going to be unique on 2 file names, so we expect to see 2 lines. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so I have named something. You do not have to only do batching on tasks. Or on tasks, yes. Do not only have to do batching on tasks. You can also do it on targets. All right. So on a target, you can specify an input. We haven't talked about this, but this is, you could say, I want you to operate on these items. Inputs, sorry. Okay. And then you can have this whole task run multiple times. Let me see if I can get this syntax right. Okay, so what this is going to say is, let me make sure this works. No, okay, cool. Oh, percent, okay, sorry. So we're going to say, across this item, the inputs are the item. I'm going to do percent and that identity on here. And then I do, is it this one? Nope. Target one, oh, output. It must also declare outputs. I didn't know you had to declare outputs for inputs. Okay. That is a surprise to me. I just have to put out any output. Okay, let's see if we can get this running here. Good. Reference on item. Okay, good. Okay, sorry, I got myself twisted around here a little bit. Okay, so I could say items. This is going to do the same thing. So I want to change this to identity. Let's see. I expect this to fail, right? So this now has to go back to item X. All right, sorry, I made a mess. This whole outputs thing threw me off. Okay.
All right.
That took a minute. Okay, sorry. All right, so what did we, so before, I'm gonna bring this down. Nope, I'm just getting copy right here. All right, so ignore the targets up here. Let's bring this back. Now that I've got myself straightened out. When you do the batching here, that percentage says run this task and do the identity or do the item for all of the unique metadata in these items, run this task that many times. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Here, we're saying for this target, for all of the inputs across this metadata, so all the unique inputs across this, run this target, and whatever set is in this identity, we will print out here. So we're going to run this target multiple times. And when you see it, you see, hey, we have target, item X does not exist, target 1 ran again. Remember, this here is MSBuild saying this is the target it ran. Target ran with this item X, target ran with this item X, target ran with this item X. Okay, so you see we made the target run multiple times. Instead of running the target once and the task multiple times by batching across the items, we ran the target multiple times, batching across the items. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Now, let's go back and do by extension. Okay, I'm going to now batch the target by the extension of all of these guys. How many unique extensions across these 3 items do we have?
Yeah, the 2.
We have 2. So we expect this target to run
twice.
And what do we expect the item to be in here in the first run? Guess?
That does not exist in A.
We have 2 A dot text.
Oh, well, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, not a.foo, right?
The first one.
Yep.
Sure.
Okay, we run it, and you're right. See, now we ran target 1, where it filtered all of the items by that particular metadata, the extension, and then said, when you run inside this target, that item collection contains only those items. Does not exist, and a.text. And then it runs it again for the other extension of a.foo.
Okay. Yep.
All right. So now let's add another one. We'll add b.foo. How many times is the target going to run?
Yeah, it's going to run twice.
Still going to run twice because we're still batching by the extension, but we get now does not exist a.text, and then we have item X, a.foo, and b.foo. Okay?
Yep.
All right. Now we can do a real quick thing just to make it clear. We're going to batch the target on the extension, and then we're going to batch the task on the identity. You want to take a guess of what we're going to get in that case?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a for loop and a for loop is the way to kind of think about this.
Right. So 3 threes.
It's going to give us, well, the identity, remember, gives us each one. So the item X will give us each item inside the target 1. So when we run this, we will get target 1. Item X's identity does not exist. Item X a.text. And then we'll get target 1 again, but this time it has the a.foo in it and the b.foo in it.
Okay.
All right. So the way to kind of think about this, if you want to kind of map it back to programming, is at the inputs here, when you're operating on this item, MSBuild will do the batching. So it selects, it does a query across all the items and grouping them by whatever piece of metadata that you want to pull off them. In this case, we're doing the extension. All right, so it creates a slice out of it. We get 2 slices, does not exist in a.text, and then we do the same thing for a.foo and b.foo. It slices those into 2 separate collections, and then it calls your target like a function, if you want to think of it like procedural programming, where it says, all right, I'm going to call this function twice, one with the first slice, and then again with the second slice, but it uses the same name of the collection when it passes it into your function. So inside here, this item, this ampersand item X refers to the slice that we got off of the target batching. Okay?
Okay.
So on the first pass of target 1, when we ran it, I now went back to just spitting out the item again. We can see that it had these 2 items in it. And then when it ran it again, it passed in the item X collection with the next 2 items in it.
Right.
Okay. So that's ways that we can then slice them. And then sometimes this semicolon, if that's not the way you want to see it, let's say you have a task inside that you then want to run on each of those, then you can use some other piece of metadata. Like here, we can do file name. Okay. So we're going to slice by extension. We'll get 2 groups. And then we're going to print out the items by file name.
Yep. 2. Yep.
And we will get 2, but this time we will only print out the file names. So it does not exist A, item X A and B.
Okay. So I think of this. I'm keep staring at outputs A. Is that kind of irrelevant, or can you treat
Yeah,
that?
sorry. Okay, that's my bad. My bad. This is a mess. Just ignore this. Okay, I have to put something here. Here, let me not put anything. Okay, so as we saw, MSBuild was very upset about not having outputs, which I totally forgotten about, and then that threw me off. Okay, so I had to give it outputs whenever you have inputs. I had forgotten about that. So let me give it no outputs and say this target has no outputs. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Did I not? Outputs. Okay. When it's blank, it doesn't recognize it, right? So I have to put something in here. All right. So I could put foo, right? Doesn't matter. The outputs is here. All right. And when we, all right, David, you're going to force me. In a future episode, not this episode, we're going to go back to targets and talk about an advanced piece of targets where you can get targets to skip themselves when they are already up to date. An up-to-date check. The inputs and the outputs are a very important part of the up-to-date check. I forgot they were also important for batching, which got me into this situation.
Okay.
To get them to show up in here.
Okay.
Okay, let me see. It's like going back to my notes. Yeah. And I just totally spaced the outputs. So ignore the outputs. I have to put something in there. It's a placeholder for now.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
Okay. Zach is asking about something else that's going to be covered in the future. And yeah, we'll cover about functions in the future. Zach, is this the second time you've brought up functions? I feel like it's the second time. Anyway, it's great to have all of you here in chat going through all this. Okay. Does this make sense? This is very confusing when you first see it. And that's why I'm kind of belaboring going over the task batching and then target batching without giving you a whole lot of context of why it's useful. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Right? So it's just, I want you to think of like, okay, so a target is kind of like a function. And when I have my inputs and I start using metadata, batching, this % means start batching over these things, then you can start thinking of it as, okay, I'm putting a for loop on my function. I'm going to put a for loop on this based off of this query into my group of items, and then it will call into my target each time with that slice of items, and then it will reuse the same name of %item, right? And then it will print out the things here.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
All right. So now, you know what? Let's do this just because I uncommented it. So we're going to now run this target, the number of times that these items are here, and then we're going to spit out item X, and then we're going to run this message in batching. Okay, so we're going to basically do both messages. You want to guess what this gives us?
Sure. All of it? I'm not sure. I mean, yeah. Let's see.
I'm going to differentiate it. Okay. How many lines of output do you think we're going to get per target?
Well, I mean, you're going to get
So
4 for the top one.
2. In the past, we had 2 lines per target because we were splitting by identity. You're going to guess how many we get this time?
Well, what are we split? What's the first message up there? I mean, the file name, sure, there's 2.
Yeah. Right. So.
Oh, the extension,
Yep,
2.
Still flags.
Yeah.
There's still 2. So we're going to call the target twice. We're slicing twice. And then we're going to pass that collection in. So what's this line going to print?
The 2.
Okay.
Let's see.
the 2
the extension.
No, the 2 items that you get passed in. And then it's going to print the 2 file names. How many times of these messages are we going to see? That's the question. And the answer is 3.
All right,
because item X has no batching on it. It just prints the item, so it runs the message once. This then has batching on it, so it runs once per file name that was passed into this collection. So you can see here are the 2 files that were passed in. Then here's the first file name, and here's a second file name. First file name, second file name. Okay. And then it ran this message, which shows us both of the items. And then we did batching on it, this percent on the file name again. So it said A and B. A and B. Okay, so this message here is not being batched. It's just printing out the item as a collection, and this message is being batched because it has a percent sign on it.
Okay.
Okay, and the target is being batched because it has a percent sign on it. Target 1A. Depends on target 1A. Okay. Target name equals target 1A. And I'm going to drop my message in here, drop my target in here. Ooh, home row. There we go. Boy, typing is not a thing today. All right. And we're going to say target 1A was here. Okay. So now we have our target that is being batched. Our target 1 is being batched, and it depends on another target. How many times is target 1A going to run?
I
Just take a guess, because
just once.
Correct. Oh, wait, look, depends on targets. I keep doing that. Plural. I don't know why I'm doing singulars today. It's always plurals. It's always plurals because you could depend on multiple targets, and you are correct. It runs one time because it is not batched. Remember, we said targets in MSBuild only run once, ever, unless they happen to be batched, and then they're batched all in one go.
Okay.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yes.
All right. So now let's move this here. So now target 1 has no inputs and outputs, but target 1A has the inputs and outputs. We moved it by extension and was here with item X. Okay. So now we've moved the batching off of target 1 and we've moved it onto target 1A. Okay. So how many times are we going to get?
Well, aren't you still batching in target 1 too as well?
You're right. I'm not target batching in 1 though.
Oh, okay.
I'm task batching. So only the batching only applies to this task, not to the whole target anymore. Here now I'm applying it to the whole target.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
All right. So how many times is target 1 going to run?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'm having a hard time seeing this. I mean,
It has no batching on it.
Right. So 4 or 2. I'm sorry.
2. And then target 1A is going to run how many times? It's tricky, isn't it? We'll run it and we'll show.
Sure.
Target 1 runs once because there's no batching. If there's no batching, a target runs once. When there's batching, that is how you then it will explode out into the whatever metadata you have. So target 1A is being run because target 1 depends on it. All right, so it runs first and it is batched. So it batches its 2 parts. It batches by the text and then it batches by the foo. So you get target 1A run twice, and then target 1 runs after all that, and it prints out the fact that, hey, here's item X, and then it does task batching across the unique file names, of which there does not exist B and 2 A's. Does not exist A and B. So the A's get collapsed.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand when I see it. It's hard for me to preemptively say what's going to
right. So
there.
And once again, we're back to printf debugging in MSBuild is extremely useful, and you can get yourself here. And as we saw last time, batching, especially using identity here on a message to print out all of the items, unique items in a list, is very useful as well, right? So that's why it's like, cool, just start dropping all of the various bits and pieces all over, right? So there we go. So this was bashed over extension. It print out the message twice, one with the first selection of things, one with the second selection of items, and then it ran target one, which again ran with its full collection of items, and then it printed out its file name. This is here. Let's run it again with identity now, and now you can see we have each file name, or sorry, each file, each item individually from this item X because I did identity. Right? Okay. And again, I want to drill home because this part, at least personally, confused me for a long time. This item X extension does your batching across the item. So it slices your item into the number of collections based off of the unique values of metadata. And then it gives you the name of the collection with that subset. So when you see this, you're like, oh, this is all of item X. No, 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 no. You have to see that there's batching on the target to know that the target has sliced item X for you. Okay.
Right.
Which is why we see only 2, even though item X is the name of this thing up here. That's 4. Right. You see, and this has no batching. So target 1 has no batching. Target 1A has batching. Target 1A sees the slices and target 1 does not see the slices. And when you're looking at an MSBuild file, especially when they get really big, this can be really tricky. So you just got to kind of keep track of, look for batching because these percent signs are doing for loops and giving you subsets of the value of whatever collection you think you're dealing with.
Okay. Right.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I've made this very abstract. Should we try something real quick so I can stop breaking your brain on like these abstract ideas and let's actually do something useful?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Let's try something useful. To do that, I need to create some files. So I'm going to create a.text. I'm actually going to create these now. And I'm going to create b.text. They could be empty. Is that enough? That'll be enough to start. 2 will be fine. All right.
Okay.
And we'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of that. And we're going to call this now b.text. Okay, cool.
Sure. Yep.
And I'm going to make this simpler just because we don't need all this extra target stuff in here for our example, because we're finally going to do something besides printf to give you an idea of why this is interesting at all. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to say target 1. I am going to print out both items as I have them. And then I'm going to do, and hopefully don't get this wrong, I'm going to do a copy. All right. So in copy, you give it your source files, and we can give it our item X. Okay. And you can give it a destination folder out. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Oh, and I need another thing here. Make dir
the out.
folders. Is it destination folders or folders? I forget. Out. I think it's folders. Let's see if I got the syntax right. So message is a task. We've been using it a lot. It prints things to the screen. It's very useful in that way. Make dir creates a directory. Copy copies files. There are more options to these, but these are kind of the simplest parts. And we're going to see if I remember the correct name for folders. This might be direct. It's not folders. There's no way it's folders. Do I have this open somewhere? I had a window open that had some of these things because I never remember what it is. That's not folders. It's directories. Of course, it's directories. Sorry. Folders is very MSI-like because a lot of times we call them folders inside MSI. Anyway. Okay. All right. Clear the screen. List the files. So we have a.text, b.text, and our project file right here. Okay, so now I'm going to have to do a whole bunch of showing files. Actually, our Explorer will show it here. Okay, let's try to run this, and hopefully I don't blow up my machine. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So we're going to run target 1. It's going to print out a message saying, hey, copy these to that output folder. It's going to make that output folder, and then it's going to copy the list of files here to that output folder. Hey, look. Copy, and then make dir prints out a nice message saying creating directory out, and then look, copy does a nice job saying, hey, I'm copying a file from a.text to out a.text and b to b.text. And look, here's our out folder, and there's a.text and b.text inside it. Right?
All right. Yep.
All right, cool. It worked. And you're like, wow, Rob, you finally did something useful. You actually made a change to the operating system. All right, I'm going back, deleting everything. I'm going to say, this is a.text, just in case we want to open them and know for sure. I don't think we'll get confused which one's which, but this is b.text. Okay. All right. This is all easy. No big deal. We could say, hey, copy these files to this output folder. You're like, great. Awesome. This is easy. This is actually really common. Take a whole bunch of files, copy them somewhere else. You're done. Okay.
Right.
What if you want to add some metadata? Let's call it dir, because I want to be lazy. And I want to call this 1. I'm going to call this dir equals 2. So what am I doing here? I'm going to say that this metadata, dir, a custom metadata that I'm just making up on the spot, is the directory that I want the subdirectory that I want a.text to be put in. All right. Here, I'm going to change it to subdir.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
You're like, great. So now I have these items, and now I need to put A in 1 and B in 2. How do I do that? Well, how do I get subdir? Right? Okay. Well, I can, in this case, I can batch, right? So I can say output to item X dot subdir, right? So this is going to take all the unique subdir here and put it inside this directory, right?
Right.
Okay, so that will run this copy command twice because I have a 1 and a 2. Make sense?
Yep. Makes sense.
All right, is this going to work?
Yes. We'll see it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, clear screen, MSBuild. Oh, wait. It did work. I didn't expect it to work. I don't know what. This surprised me because I don't know who created the directory. I guess copy file now creates directories. All right.
You didn't need the make dir at this point?
I didn't. MSBuild has, in the time since I've been doing this for so long, I didn't know. So in some build of MSBuild since MSBuild, last time I checked, which would have been like MSBuild 2 or I don't know, 3.5, something like that, they now create the directories for you on the way there. Here I was trying to be all smart, but it worked. But it worked. It wasn't supposed to work because we weren't creating the directory, but it did for me. So that's awesome. It still demonstrates the correct answer. Here's out, and now we have a 1 directory, and A is in it, and 2 is in it here.
Right.
Right? And that's cool. We did batching across this copy. Right?
Yes.
And the important part is, as part of this batching, you'll also notice that it sliced this item X for us correctly because it only put A in it and B in it here.
Okay. Right.
Okay. Now, if you're afraid to do the real commands, I've done this many of time. Instead of doing that, you do this. You do message, and you essentially say, copy item X to, and then you put this part here. Okay. So this message now, because it has the exact same item and percent item X, this message should show us the exact same thing that is going to happen to this copy command. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So we will see in MSBuild, I'm going to delete this directory again here. Delete. Yes, move to recycle bins. Great. Clear screen, MSBuild, and boom. Now it shows us what it would be doing to all those. Copy A to out 1, copy B to out 2. Oh, sorry. I left this message behind. That's confusing.
Right.
Take that message back out. Sorry.
Yep.
There. So you're like, if you need to test a command that you're afraid what it's going to do, use message when you're doing batching, right? So you can get in your head, oh, this is what it's going to do.
Okay. That makes sense.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Well, now that worked, how do I want to demonstrate? Anyway, so here's something that's useful and real that you can do. I think does that show you how you can then start slicing metadata over top things?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Now, let's do, I want to do one more. Where are we at? Maybe I'll come to it at the end. All right. I want to try to cover one more thing, the next thing about batching. That's a little bit special spin on batching. All right. Ready? One more thing.
Okay. Sure. Yep.
I am having a real time pushing the buttons. Okay, so I want to talk about batching in items. So we have a.text and b.text here. And I want to create another set of items based off of them. So what I want to do is I want to create item Y, and I want to include all the things from item X. So I'm copying, man, if I could spell.
Okay.
All right, so if I do item Y here, that just has copied item X.
Okay.
Right? And let's
Which is two files.
show it.
Okay.
Yeah, just two files. Let's go ahead and bring this back, and we will now print out item Y. Okay. Do a clear screen, print out. Item Y is the same as item X. Same items, all that kind of good stuff. All right.
Yep.
And we could even do this. Percent item Y dot subdir. Okay. See, they even brought all their metadata over, even the custom subdirs across to the new items. All right. So it's just a copy of them. All right. Oh,
gotcha.
Let me try this. By the way, this is a shortcut syntax. If you have only one item in it, you don't have to keep repeating the item Y part of it. See how it figured out from this collection, that subdir off item Y? There you go. I'm just going to drop that in there. We'll keep going. All right. Okay. It's just a short text syntax. You don't always have to put item Y. I often will do this if I'm struggling with the whole system, lots of pieces. It sometimes helps, but you don't have to. I thought I just mentioned that because some people like the short syntax. All right. Okay, so we copied item X. That's not interesting. Let's make these item in, and let's make these item out. Okay, so item in is a.text, b.text with the subdir where they should be put out to, but item out is just item in. Well, that's not correct. I want that to be the place where they should be put. Like let's create items that represent the outputs of them. All right.
Okay.
So I want to batch these items into another item. Right? I want to take pieces of the metadata. So what I want in the end is I want item out to look like this. I want it to have one a.text as its name and two b.text. I want to have those two items in item out. So you have item in, say here's this file, here's a subdirectory, and I want the item out to be, this is where they should go. Okay.
Okay.
All right. You're like, oh, okay. Interesting. All right. So how do we go about doing that? Well, we do this thing called batching with a transform. And of course, the syntax is crazy. I always have to make sure I have it right here. So you do this arrows here, and that says, why is it an arrow? I don't know. They needed some separator to say, hey, do the batching on this of this item, do this batching on it, and then put it out back into this item. Or give me the result of that. All right, you're like, what's going on? Okay, so you do single quotes and you say identity. Let's just do this, okay? We're gonna do batching, and we're going to take item in and item ins, both of them, and then we're gonna have item out, and we're just gonna get their identity, okay? So you remember before, item Y, when we just did a copy of item X, was exactly the same. It had a.text and it had the subdir. It copied all the metadata over, right?
Right.
It was a perfect copy. Okay, I'm going to change this now to out because we've named it differently. Out and item out. Okay. And now item out is these two item ins transformed with just their identity. And when we run this, it actually brought the subdir. Okay. It brought the item metadata over with it. Man, MSBuild has gotten smarter. There are all these sharp edges that used to catch me in the past. All right, so it brought over both of them.
Wait till they get a load of me.
But I don't want the identity of item out, right? I don't want item out in subdir. I want the one a.text and the two b.text. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Right? So I want to put the subdir.
So you don't want the metadata in there?
Well, I do want the metadata. I didn't think it was going to bring the metadata for me when I did this transform. But here's what I want. I want to bring the subdirectory and put it in front of the name or the identity of this file. Okay, so this looks like line noise, which is why I didn't want to bring it up a long time ago, but it hopefully we can tear it apart. We're going to take this collection, this item in, we're going to transform it using this batch over here. We are going to then say, take the metadata of subdir and then the identity of each, combine those two strings together with a backslash in between them.
Okay.
All right. And then I'm going to print them all out over here. Let me take the subdir off just for a second. So we're going to then print out item out. And hopefully we get something that looks like this now, where the two items are in the collection. Yay, it worked. Right?
Yep.
We have item in. And we have item out. Item in, a.text, b.text, and then we have item out, b, a.text, b.text. And you're like, great. So now let me add another one, c.text, put it in subdirectory 3. All right. Boom. Just like that, we're able to put a.text, b.text, c.text, and now each of these outs say where they go. A.text, c.text, and we can change this to, 44. I don't know, whatever. X, Y, Z. Boom. Now C is an XYZ. All right.
All right.
Cool. And let me go ahead and create C.text. Man, a lot of this I thought I was going to be able to show because MSBuild didn't do all these things for me. And now it does so much more for me and I've forgotten. Okay. So I still have the subdir on them, but let's say I don't have the subdir metadata on them for now. Okay. So instead of destination folder, you can also use destination files. So you can provide a collection that you want to source your files from, our items in, and then you can provide a collection that matches one-to-one to say where you want them to be output to. Okay, so A matches with the first one, B matches the second one, C matches the second one, and the copy file will do that for us. So here I'm saying copy exactly this set of files to this set of files over here that don't exist.
Okay.
Okay. So instead of saying put it in this folder and then set the subdirectories based off this, now I'm saying this file, that file, that file, that file, and you match them up inside the collection. So the first one matches the second one, first one matches the first one in each list. Then we go our way down. All right. Ready?
Yep.
Hopefully this works. Yay. And nice print. Creating directory 1, creating directory 2, copying file from a.text to 1.text, copying from b.text to 2.text, and copying c.text to xyz c.text. And there we are. Boom. Okay.
All right.
So this is a great way to map. If you need to map things to each other, this is the way to do it. Oh, I just deleted my proj file. Oh, no. Or did I move it? No, I deleted it. What did I do? I did just copy it. Just a second. I want to bring that back real quick because it's going to take me too long to... Well, I could create it again. Where is my recycle bin, though? I don't have it. There we go. All my drives, find the recycle bin. Wow. I have this PC. Did I just turn off the recycle bin? I didn't. Wow, I've hidden the icon though. All right, I could create it faster than finding it at this point for what I want to do. Be careful what you're deleting in space here. All right. I'm kind of, let's try. I found it. PowerShell run command took me right there. Date deleted. Yes, dojo.proj. Cool. Can I just restore it? All right, I've never done that before. Ta-da! Woohoo! Yay, recycle bin. Whew, thank goodness I wasn't holding shift and delete. Okay. All right, so we have considered target batching, we've considered task batching, which we knew, target batching, and now we have transforms, right? So you can convert inline syntax the items from other items. So it's ability to do batching within an item right here,
Okay. Right.
right? Right, and you can do all kinds of different things in that direction. Okay. Those are the three big things I wanted to do on batching. Now I think I can give you a little bit more of a, we could try to do a bit more of a complicated example that maps to a real world case. Want to try that?
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
All right, cool.
See it.
Let's, we'll call this sparring and then we could talk about it. Okay, so the scenario is when you're doing a build and you're creating lots and lots of files, then you want to sign them. So some tools allow you to put a list of file names on the command line and it will operate on all of them in one big go, right?
Okay.
Okay, so if let's say, well, we'll use text files. You can't sign text files per se, but if you wanted to sign text files, and we had an important message, I'm just going to pretend. So we're going to do like I did before, where I created a message that represents the command that would be like sign. So command like sign, files. It looks something like this. Okay. Now I want to bring in item in. Actually, I want to bring in item out because the first step would be copy files item in to item out. Okay. So you would get something like that. All right. But of course we know we need to do all of them. So item in, can I? Yes, something like that. All right. All right. So you would do a copy files of these three to those three. And we saw the command that could do the whole copy for us and all that kind of thing, right? With the ins and the outs. Okay, but then you want to sign these files and you want to sign them, but you can't put semicolons between them, right? The sign command expects them to be here with spaces, and you want to sign the output files, not the input files. Okay, so you do a whole build process, they get put in the right place, and then you sign them in one big pass. And you want to group them into one pass because the sign tool will go through and has to do like a lot of hashing, a lot of processing on them, and then make a call out to your certificate and sign all that. And you want to kind of do that all in one go. Oh, you can't see what I'm typing? Ooh, that's not right. Oh, yes, I pushed the wrong button. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, sorry, back. Okay, so, wrong button. This has not been a day for pushing buttons, David. I think that's where I'm at too. All right, so copy. So we're gonna copy these files, and we showed the command how you do copy these set of files to these destination files. So you can see like that's your build process, get them all output. And then you want to do a signing. But in the signing, you can't have them here with the semicolons between them because the sign tool expects them to have just each individual file listed by itself. Something like, sign file 1a.txt, 2b.txt, xyz, c.txt. Okay, so you need them in spaces instead, right?
Right.
And in this case, the sign tool does, as I was saying, does a lot of processing, crunches over these files, hashes them, and then has to send those hashes off to get them signed. And you want to try to do that in as few operations as possible. All right?
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to show you a couple ways, and then we're going to get to the one that works. Okay.
Okay.
So these are the ways that you might start your way through it. So you could be like, all right, cool. I'm going to take my target inputs as item in, and my outputs as item out, and let's see, outputs. All right. And now I need to batch. And if I tried to batch here at the item in, sorry. Well, if I want to try to batch at the item output, okay, we've done with that. I then want to do the item out. Okay, so I want to say, hey, for all the item outputs, I need to sign them. The problem with this solution, as we saw, is I'm going to get a sign call for each output. Right?
Okay.
Because I said, for each of these items, sign them. And you're like, no, that's not what I want. Okay, so I don't want to batch on that. So we could put that back. Okay, so all right, so I could do sign item output here. Now, and if I do it without any batching, I get them semicolon. Oh, and that doesn't work. Okay, all right, so then I'll try batching the task. So I'll get them to go here. Oh, wait, home row. Right.
Okay.
And now I run the target, but now I'm still running sign file 3 times because I have 3 files. So I'm still running it 1 per file. Right?
Right.
And you're like, okay. So if I do target batching, it runs it 1 per file. If I do task batching, it does 1 per file. I don't want either of those. No, what I want to do is I want to take this item output collection and I want to transform it into the correct value. And let's see if I can get this syntax right because it's very funky. Do I remember this? Item output, and then I think it's just identity. All right. So what am I doing? I'm saying for this item inside, note that all of this is inside with item output, okay? With item out. Then I'm saying, all right, for that, give me the list of files with their identity. Let's run this. Oh, is being referenced without an item name. Sorry, my bad. Oh, I did it. Transforms use the percent is on the inside, not the outside. The syntax is you start with your collection, you add your arrow for the transforms, you put 2 quotes, and then you batch inside here. All right. You can see how much I don't use transforms a lot of times. I always have to look the syntax up. So don't feel bad if you have to go back and look the syntax up. Totally there. But my goal is here that you know it exists, not that you remember all the different parts of it. You're like, okay, great. Now it just gave me the identity. Now I've forgotten the syntax. Comma. There it is. There's another transform that if you don't specify the comma here, it replaces it or it combines it with its usual outputs, with its usual things, which is a semicolon.
The delimiter.
The delimiter. But if you add a comma here, you can specify your own. So you can think of this like a function overload, right? Where it has an extra function parameter on here. The default, if you don't specify it, is semicolon. But now I can replace it here with spaces. And if for some reason the command line needed commas, well, you could do commas, right? Or if it needed dollar signs or dollar sign space dollar sign, you can put those in between there too. All right. So I wanted to cover this syntax. It's a little bit crazy. As you can tell, I can't even remember it. Of the item, you start with the item, you add the transform, you pick the things that you're going to batch on, and then you can optionally specify the separator that you want to stick to them. And now we have it. And this is extremely useful to know is out there in the end, because sometimes you just want to take your item collection and stick them together with your own custom delimiter? Yes, delimiter. And get that value.
Okay.
Cool?
Yeah, cool.
All right. Batching is very important when you're building targets. When you're using them, this is why you can just, when you use targets a lot, you can imagine everything below this line or all this down here, you don't have to worry about. You can just think about items, and behind the scenes, someone has built the systems up to do all these transforms and all this work so that they can say, hey, add this metadata here. I will then use it in my transforms or my batching to get my appropriate task or target or whatever to operate in the way that I need it to do.
Right.
All right. So, and for the first time, I hope I showed you something a little bit more than just printing. You can actually see how you might use this in a copy file, or if you need to do a sign tool, you can see how you could create these kind of commands. All the different ways you can create these commands with metadata on items, doing batching over the top of them.
Right.
All right. Questions?
I don't have any.
Don't have any. Yeah. So speaking of blowing up your machine, oh yeah, okay. Yeah. Zach pointed out if you're not careful and you specify like the root of your machine and you're like, hey, start removing directories, because MSBuild can delete directories as well. It can pretty rapidly delete a lot of important stuff. That's why I chose copy, and I hoped that it would stick in the directory I was at. And then Blair asked if I knew that the 4 or 5 are not on YouTube yet. And yes, we are working on getting those up, done and up for 4 or 5, and then 6 will follow after that. We just been busy. We've been busy, had a little bit of backlog. Things are coming soon, very soon. All right, that's batching. Batching is really important. We will see it again and again and again as we start doing more advanced work inside our targets. So, like I said, we're out of just the building blocks, and now we're actually doing something with those building blocks to make systems. And I'm probably going to have to sit down and build something interesting as opposed to just Rube Goldberg machines of printf output.
Right.
Although, look, if there's one tip you take away, printf debugging inside MSBuild has a lot of value. And if you're afraid of what you're about to do, doing a message, a message, and doing the command line that you would do with all of the various transformations that you do can be very, very helpful in figuring out, one, what it's going to do, or if it's not working, why, because as you get going along, the batching can get really complicated and powerful. But it's really powerful. With very little amounts of input up here, we're able to do a whole lot of work down here and let MSBuild do all the work for us. Cool?
Cool.
Maybe we'll talk about inputs and outputs next. Maybe we'll do that, since that kind of dovetails into this. But we'll see. All right. Well, that's what I have. We'll be back next month, and we will pick up with the next topic, continuing deeper and deeper into building real systems in MSBuild. I don't know how much deeper we have to go to actually get to a place where you guys can build really serious things. I know a bunch of you in chat have already built a bunch of things, but all of you watching at home, I hope this is helpful. If anything, it helps you read other people's targets and understand better what MSBuild is doing under the hood. All right, that's what we got. Until next time, you guys take it easy. Bye.
See ya.
I have to push another button, and it's not been a good day of pushing buttons.